Two, one. Hello, Daniel. How are you, mate?
Doing pretty good, Triffin. Thank you.
And for the first time and our first podcast ever, we welcome Lisa. How are you, Lisa?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you
Hi,
for having
Lisa.
me.
Yes,
Hi,
thank you.
Daniel.
You two behave, okay? So, what we're here tonight to do is to pay tribute to Brian. We want to share some stories, have a few laughs, share some knowledge, and not to be too sad about it because he was a good man. He tried his hardest and he affected us all in so many different ways. And however, there was a joviality, and I think his morbid humour is something that we all appreciated and joined in with because why not? That's an Aussie thing. He saw some stuff which gave him that morbid humour. However, that's where me and him connected. I've seen some stuff as well. That's the reason I have morbid humour. We all do, right? And where I wanted to start is unlocking the code, listeners. Is it a primal connection? Is that the Yowie podcast that we
A
did?
Primal
A
Experience
primal
was the
experience was the
podcast
very
that Brian was on
that
in this room.
yes. So that Brian was introduced to the podcast on a primal experience back when this was the refinery,
Yeah.
and like two couches ago as well. It was years and years and years ago now that we had Brian on here first. And I suppose my question was with the Yowie stuff, and Lisa's got an interesting story to follow up. However, how did you guys get into Yowies? I don't think I've heard that story. How did you end up in the bush giving apples to Yowies?
Giving apples to Yowies.
Apples to you,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Well, that was the part of the story, right?
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
had
Mm.
apples
Bag apples. Yeah.
taken overnight by something, and we like to believe that was Yowies.
Yep.
Um, Yowies being the Australian version of a Bigfoot.
Sassy. Yep.
Yeah, old Sassy. Well, I think honestly, it was like nearly a decade ago when I met
Really?
when I met Brian.
Because I mean, I've known you for the podcast is 8 now. I think I've known you 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because we did our first show out at Woody's place
that's right.
at the at Lockerbie,
Yeah,
and that was at
yeah,
least 7 years ago now.
yeah. So it's like a decade ago that I met Brian on the verandas of the shop fronts out at Coralbin.
Right. Okay. Yep.
And he had his dog Fang, who apparently allegedly didn't like skateboarders because I remember him chasing a skateboarder down the veranda. But yeah, so I think that we just like looked at each other and knew like this guy knows something, and he's like this guy knows something as well. Like people who have been down the rabbit hole, and
Yeah.
he was on the beginning of his journey down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
Yeah. Right.
And I introduced him to a lot of new things to look at, like just the seed planting sessions.
Yeah. Different ideas.
Check
Different
this out.
seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, have a search on this. And he eventually started talking to me about Yowies, and I had a little bit of a Yowie story, not much. My dad was working in a rainforest area, and they came across footprints that were really, really wide apart, and they couldn't explain that. And I was like, yeah, I never really thought about it. Like it was just a story that was told to me. And I was like, yeah, maybe there's something in that. It'd be cool if there was. And one day we decided to go out and look for them, and we had that crazy experience.
So that's the primal experience.
We weren't actually expecting it. We thought we were just getting away on an adventure in the bush, maybe trying to scare ourselves. But yeah, shit got real. We had rocks thrown
Yeah,
towards
rocks
us.
thrown at you. You had apples taken.
Yeah,
You had
and the sounds too.
sounds. And it was a
Yeah,
green eyes as well from memory.
green eyes. Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah.
And I saw the silhouette of four extremely tall hominids down in the creek. They were
That's
crossing it
right.
to come
Yeah.
to us.
I remember that. I remember that
Yeah.
now. You should understand that experience changed my mind.
Yeah.
I came into that podcast entirely skeptical. I didn't believe him. I'm like, yeah, sure, Bigfoot's real. Yeah, whatever.
Well, It was our first time, and it was fresh for us. We were reliving the experience.
What you got to
in this
understand,
room.
Lisa, when they're in this room, is that what made me believe it is I saw the fear in their eyes. I saw
Mm.
their quivering lips. I saw the whole thing as they relived it, as I kept probing them to get the story out, and it changed my existence. I still haven't had an experience. We tried to go, but the gate was shut.
That's right.
That's another Brian story we can come
It
to
is.
later.
Yeah.
However, yeah, it changed my perspective. I believed after that show, and I went on a bit of a rabbit hole myself. And as it turns out, a lot of people believe and have had experiences. The one story that I've told a few times that bears telling again is that it was a guy I was working with. He was an old ranger. He used to Jackaroo, used to get the cattle from the north to the south, from the Northern Territory into Queensland. And it was like a month they'd be on horseback and they'd go around this massive big bit of bushland, this like massive forest bush. And he's like, yeah, we never went through it because Yowies lived there. And he just said it matter of fact. He goes,
Yeah.
the horses wouldn't go in there, cows
Yeah.
wouldn't go in there, nothing would go in there. He goes, oh, yeah, no, we've seen them. We've seen them on the tree line when we have a big fire and stuff. Yeah. And he was just matter of fact. He's, oh, yeah, no, they're definitely real. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
a straight up and down, literally in a cowboy hat, in a, Wrangler shirt, boots and jeans, and he said, yeah, no, for sure. It changed my perspective.
Yeah.
Look, I don't, that podcast was actually really good, a primary experience. So we're not going to retell that story, but go back in the back catalogue, listen to that. You'll get a good introduction of Brian as well. So I think because we introed Brian in that show.
Yeah.
And it's a really good one. However, that leads Lisa's story. So how many times were you in before you dragged poor old Lisa?
Lisa knew that we were going out having these adventures, and there was more than one. So much more has happened since that. We've taken Matt out, had an experience with Matt. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I suppose before we get there, how did you meet Brian, Lisa? How did you?
I was just trying to think of that before when Daniel was saying how he met Brian.
It was through me. I knew the both of you, but I had a friendship with the both of you that was completely separate.
Yeah.
And eventually, finally, like, you guys got introduced, and then we become this trio.
I think for me, Brian always invoked a feeling of feeling safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because of his size. He was such a big man.
Yeah, he was an imposing guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he just always made me feel safe, Brian. And he was just so open and honest.
It was
I
all
think.
hard, hey. He had his
heart
on
on
his sleeve.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And he's so giving as well. And without being negative, I think sometimes people could take advantage of that because he was such a giving person.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
True.
He would just give everything. Yeah. So I think it must have been somewhere around the traps. So I sort of always felt like Daniel and Brian were like just the Tweedledum and Tweedledee, I suppose.
Okay,
do you know what I mean? They always had that little like, oh yeah, one's going to be with the other one sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. They had that friendship, I think. But I can't remember where I first met Brian.
And so they dragged you out. So what's your perspective of what's your Yowie experience, I suppose, is the larger question.
Well, I think for me, like I grew up, my mum sort of introduced me to the unexplained everything. And I always used to read about Yowies and always wanted to have my own experience. So when Brian and Daniel came to me and said we had this amazing experience, it blew me away too. Like, and I think what hit me, like, I mean, I wanted to see them for myself or hear them or something. But for me, it was what interests me. I was really intrigued with the feeling it made them feel, like that primal, like you were talking about, Trippin. That real, and I thought, I don't know how I would handle that if I saw them, but I wanted to have my own. So anyway, we went to this beautiful location. I think it was really late, and we weren't sure if we were going to make it. I don't think either. That night it was.
We would stealth camp, so we would always arrive late.
Yeah, right. Arrive in the darkness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like right on dark, middle of nowhere. I think had been raining. It was raining as well. So we rocked up, but I felt okay. And sorry, Daniel, but Brian was there, so I always felt safe when Brian was there.
Next.
Yeah.
And it was this beautiful little site. It was, how would you describe it? Just ancient. It felt ancient,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
Is this up in the
just.
Lamington National Park?
I didn't want to
No,
give the location.
no, that's where we went the first time.
Oh, right. It's the
Our
first time.
our first experience was there,
Yeah, okay.
and then we went traveling through the border ranges.
Yeah, okay. Looking for just feeling spots out, intuition, or
Pretty much, you just go exploring.
yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yep.
Mm.
No, so a
It,
nice little slice of Aussie
Nice little
paradise.
spot, yeah. So, and I mean, I didn't have any gear, so I was just sort of tagging along, I think, hoping to experience or see something. And we camped out, and the boys went tree tapping, I think they call it,
Tree knocking, yeah.
tree knocking, sorry, and playing classical music really loud, hoping to bring some close.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, right. Classical music.
Yeah,
What's
was it
behind the
classical?
classical music?
I don't know.
It was, yeah, I
Probably,
think it
probably
was.
for yourself. It was probably for you, Lisa.
Oh, to
Probably to
make me
calm
feel
you.
better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was a little bit uneasy, but it was okay. It was really wet, and Brian got the fire going, and everything was set up. And anyway, we ended up going to sleep because nothing happened at that point until I woke up. I fell asleep. I wanted to sleep in the middle of Brian and Daniel
Mhm.
because I didn't want to be like, the first one that would get grabbed if anything was going to happen.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Being the only female there.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And the boys should have actually probably
That's right, yeah.
made
So
that
I felt
happen.
obviously, and I fell asleep, and I woke up at around 3 o'clock in the morning, and the tent was empty, no one there, dark, only a campfire. So yeah, after all these things I've been told, they just up and left me. I had no
Just
idea. I
left you
didn't
to
know
be
if they'd
taken by
been
the Yowies.
abducted
Right.
by aliens, taken by Yowies,
Yeah.
murdered. I don't know. Anyway, so
Well, Brian and I got together beforehand and thought this would work better if we had some bait.
yeah,
Well,
right.
the
They were
funniest
actually
thing is,
hoping to.
yeah.
You were hoping to like have hybrids or something, weren't you? Like,
Well, yeah, not
Yowie
never
hybrids.
really thought of that, but yeah, that would have been cool.
Yes, yeah.
If you did plant that seed in my mind, we would have done a different tree knock.
So from memory, Brian goes walkabout. Is that all? Brian?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Brian would go walkabout. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
he would go walkabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa and I have an ongoing little disagreement,
Right.
okay, of how things happen.
Well, we'll ask
And-
we'll ask you what happened, then we'll find out what really happened from Lisa.
Yeah, right.
Yes, let's hear the lies.
Brian did get up and go walkabout, and he was gone for a little while. And I'm like, oh, Lisa's asleep. She'll be all right.
I thought it might have been my snoring. I thought it might have been his snoring that scared me away.
No, I literally just walked like, okay, I'll exaggerate because if I underestimate it, I know that, that's not going to work out in my favor. I'm going to over exaggerate. I went about 15 meters away, not 50. I found Brian. We were just, Lisa woke up and no one was there, freaked out, understandably. Like literally no one around.
Yeah.
For like hundreds of Ks.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Sporadic if they were.
At least 100 Ks.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure they'd left
right.
the whole. I'm sure they'd left the whole ranges.
No one would hear you scream.
No, exactly. Just set up a trail cam and leave me there.
But yeah, Lisa came out and found us, and we had torches up in trees and stuff. Didn't see any yowies in the trees, but thought it was a good place to look for other things.
Fair enough. And so what really happened? They were half a kilometre away, and they left you.
I swear to God, they were like down the bottom of the hill, the bit of the hill we were on, and they're looking in the tree with their torches. But this is after I'd ran around the campsite, 50 times.
freaking out, trying to find everybody. Yep.
Like, it was like a cartoon, I'm sure. They weren't in the car. I thought, maybe they're, listening to music in the car or something.
Drove off.
All the way down the road with their torches up a tree looking for possums. They said, we heard a noise. We just thought we'd go down here and, and I'm like, great. So I probably swore
in my defense, I was watching out for Brian. I was looking out for him. I was really worried about him. Okay.
Right.
Like, he's a big guy, but he's not as big as a Yowie. If he'd been taken, like, what do you do? Lisa's asleep. Brian's out there on his own.
Look,
Yep.
do you know
It's a
what?
good place to think the worst up there in the middle of nowhere.
Well, the thing is, though, with Brian is that for whatever reason, one of the guy I work with kept sending me sassy cartoons, and I've never
Oh, yeah.
actually sat and watched the Sasquatch
Oh,
cartoon.
you haven't?
So now it's in my algorithm, and the more that I see Big Les, the more he
Yeah.
reminds me of Brian.
Brian was just all council shirt
Yeah,
every day. of the
exactly.
week.
It's the Big Les.
Yeah.
That's he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just reminds me of
Mm.
him. Yeah, right. So did you guys have an experience? You had an experience after that, is that correct? When you went back to the tent, or no? That was it? That was you just left Lisa high and dry.
No, didn't have a lucky Yowie experience.
No. So I was highly disappointed, but that's how it is, I suppose. It just wasn't. Maybe I was too fearful,
Not ready,
subconsciously,
maybe.
not
Yeah,
ready,
not ready.
not ready,
Look, they
not
might not.
developed enough.
They just might
Well,
not be around.
they might have been there, but like, yeah,
It might have been my
sometimes
running around the campsite screaming, going, ah. I probably scared them away.
because sometimes you'll hear things walking around, but like this, the reason why I got the title, The Primal Experience, that podcast,
Is
is because
the fear reaction
it
or
does.
the internal
Yeah.
reaction that you have?
if they do rock up to your campsite, it's like is it infrasound or something
Yeah.
that like tigers have it, bears have it,
Mm.
elephants have it.
Mm.
Like, it's just a vibration that you can't detect that just goes through your body, but your nervous system registers that. You don't know what it is, and yeah, it like triggers this fear state.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's a primal reaction.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do you want to go from here? Where would you like to go from here? Do you want to share it? Is there an experience? Because there was that, well, speaking of shows we haven't released, there was that podcast we didn't release because all the mics were skew off when Woody told his story.
Oh, right.
So people who haven't heard any of that, is there any experiences you
Yeah.
wanted to share with Brian from a Yowie perspective, considering that
I'll just say that there were a lot, like there were many. We got addicted to going out there and like checking things out, and I believe we found a bit of a hot spot. And we would always hear things walking through, but we'd be just sitting down, leaning against the vehicle, or have a swag close by, half falling asleep, looking at the sky, and you think nothing's going to happen tonight. And then you hear this thump, 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 something just sprinting, heavy footprint, sprinting like flat out across the field beside you. You'd hear that, and you'd hear tree knocks all the time. If you knocked, you'd hear it back. Usually, if you knock like like a few minutes later to half an hour later, like you would maybe possibly have like something knock back, and it would keep trying to get a reaction, like another knock. So we believe like that's probably how they communicate.
Well, there is law around that. And when I say law, I mean LORE law around the knocking and all those sorts of things. That's a well-known method to communicate with those. I mean, it's not just here, but around the world as well. That's like the tree knocking thing is a thing that you do everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
For many things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a failed Yowie experience where we drove all the way into the park and the gate was locked. So we had to put
Is
in the mercy
that
car.
the three of you, Daniel and
No.
Brian?
No, Brian
Oh,
Brian wasn't with us that time. And
okay.
however, we had to put in a mercy call to Brian because we had nowhere to stay. It was like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Oh,
And we ended up staying at the men's shed at Coralbin
That's right.
and nearly blew it up. But that's because
we're trying to light a fire.
but who put the fuel on? It might have been Brian that put the fuel on.
That was probably me.
Oh,
It was one of his,
no.
Maybe not.
Yeah, probably.
But I remember just smelling it. I was the one that lit it, and it just went voompa. Like it blew everyone back a little bit. there was spot fires around the place,
like a movie.
Yeah, there was spot fires
Oh,
around
wow.
the place. However, yeah, no, we had a really good night that night at around the men's shed. Had a good chat, and
Yeah. Yeah, we were really
always good.
lucky. We could just call him up and say, "Hey, things didn't go to
Mm.
plan.
Yeah.
Like, do you reckon there's a chance we could stay at the men's shed? Can you organise that?"
Mm.
And he stayed there with us, and we nearly blew ourselves up. It was great.
Yeah.
That happened another time too.
Yeah, you
When I
got
was
that. That's the thing. That isn't the first time you've done
Yeah,
it like that.
no, we nearly
Yeah,
in the same spot too.
yeah, that's
But
what I mean.
got a valid reason.
Oh,
Like
sure.
some people would just there's a massive fire pit there, right?
I remember.
And it's mostly gets used for like burning like rubbish and stuff. So there's heaps of like green leaf litter and weeds and stuff. And like, how are we gonna get this thing started?
Yeah, fuel.
Yeah, mate. Just blow it up.
Just more fuel.
So I put a certain volume of fuel,
A certain,
a specific volume
a specific.
of fuel
Like
Is
10
it-
liters.
around.
Let's just
Well,
empty the
I
whole can
wanted to
onto
make
it.
sure I covered all the green parts and it
Right.
was mostly green.
How big was the jerry can and how empty was it at the end?
No, like actually, it was just random. I had been doing some work, doing something else, and I had a little bit of like two stroke, I think.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
In the back of the ute. So I'm like, this is gonna have to do. And I said to Brian, I've got an idea. I had those like fire lighter cubes.
Mm.
And I said, here, man, I've just put a bit of fuel on. Why don't you just light that up? We'll stand back. And before I could give the rest of the instructions,
He lit it.
he's lit it, thrown it, boom. And the next day, his wife told us that what was that bang? Oh, she heard it.
Yeah.
A lot of Coralban heard that bang. Yeah, that was us.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, apparently it was pretty loud and sound travels at night.
Yeah, right.
I was trying to suggest we stand back. He's too quick.
Well,
He's work mode.
Processed it. Yeah.
I don't think he had any fear, that man.
Well, yeah. After what he's seen, like it doesn't
No.
matter. Like
That's exactly right.
I mean, a question I probably had that would relate to it just because obviously I met Brian 5 or 6 years ago. He was pretty far along in his awareness and he had some cool ideas. And, that's how come we got along. We'd sit down and we'd share crazy ideas. I suppose, what was that? Because he was emerging, like as you say, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly almost with his thought patterns and processes. He'd been through a bit to get to where he was.
Yeah. He had a sort of a kind of type of a breakdown, but it wasn't like how we've talked about the dark night of the soul, but there was a breakdown. And his job, he was a forensic scientist and he was let go from the police.
Yeah, we need to be clear. He was one, if not the top forensic scientist in Queensland, which we need to understand that translates to he gets sent to the nastiest things that you can imagine. Dead kids, helicopter crashes, like Well, I remember the helicopter crash is one of the things that messed with him. That's what he told me about the helicopter. When he was in a helicopter to go and look at a helicopter crash or something like that, and he's like, "What am I doing?" And chopping people everywhere. You know what I mean? Just mincemeat everywhere. Like, and it's like that is going to mess with someone's head. It will. It doesn't matter how disciplined you are in your mind and your work. You can't constantly see that terrible, terrible stuff. So it's no wonder. It's no wonder that his mind broke. Really, there's no wonder.
He had a big area that he looked after.
Yeah.
In all of North Queensland down to around Rockhampton, I think it was, and across to the centre and back up again. A massive area that he was in charge of or would get called out to.
And so that was he was off the force when you met him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that long out. He moved out to Coralban for a complete lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Still had 2 kids that were young enough to be living at home back then.
G'day, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hope you're well, mate.
Yep. So I think Coralban was a really good move, man. It's like got pretty good energy out there. And
yeah, it's cool place.
And it was calling him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think he was part Yowie as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's where they were. They were
yeah.
that direction.
He did tell me that he thought that he saw something out there,
Uh,
like a shadow
Mm,
across. He'd heard a few things out there not far from his house.
mm.
And like when you look, if you look down the street there,
Yeah, there's a massive.
it's just all hills and
mm,
Hills and
mountains in the
mountains. Yeah,
background.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fair
So
bit of land behind his place. Like there's a
yeah.
massive.
mm.
Yeah.
So that definitely piqued his interest.
Mm, mm. So
He
what
said
was
he
it?
was left a few offerings. Sorry, Trippin. He said he
You
was left a few offerings as well
Yeah.
by, did he tell you that, Daniel?
Um, yeah, I do remember something about that.
what do you
Mm.
remember, Lisa? When you because you obviously you've had a memory there. Well, when you say offerings, but he left them for them or they left them for
Well,
him.
he told me because I saw him a few weeks, and it was only a few weeks before he passed. He was telling me a story here. We're having a cuppa, and he was saying that he felt there was something around there
Hmm.
because something
Yeah.
left him. It was a dead animal,
It
but
was a
it
crow,
was,
wasn't it?
yeah, I can't. It was. I'm
It
sure it
was
was
a
a bird
crow.
because I remember thinking there was feathers involved. But
Yeah, I think he left an apple out or something like that on a
yeah,
post or on his fence post or something, and woke up and the apple was gone and there was a crow there, something like that.
yeah, it
Is
was
that
really unusual, and I don't think it was there. It wasn't just one time. There was a few
no?
times.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah,
actually happened,
yeah. He had friends out there,
and
family.
that's at his
yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Mm.
I mean, so what was it like to observe his awakening or awareness? He's gaining awareness, I suppose.
Well, to be really honest, and he went really deep down the rabbit hole
Mm.
into the conspiracies,
Yeah.
which I
Mm.
think is part of the awakening, but it can take a toll on you.
Oh, it'll twist your mind. It'll break you if you that whole rabbit hole, and then realizing how much of it is actually true and is actually still probably going on and all that stuff. It will break your
Hmm.
mind. I think one of the things that he shared with us was the amount of indoctrination you have as a Queensland police officer or any police
Hmm.
officer. And like he said, that was like required reading. So like he didn't even read things that wasn't, if it didn't have QPS on the top of it, he
Mm.
wouldn't read it, right? Because that, they're led to believe that that's the truth. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Mm.
So it's, I remember him talking about just going, what? Wow, wow, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, hang on a minute. That surely that's not true. And then you keep diving and just, it's unlocking the code, check the back catalog for rabbit holes. However, you just you're never the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he went from being a part of the system
Mm,
to going above and looking down at the system
yeah.
and being like, you can see, like, when you start down the rabbit hole, you know what it's like. It's
Uh-huh.
like just one thing after another. But I think that it's really important, like, to take a break and pull yourself out, ground yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you can lose yourself in there. You can get in there and you don't have a torch and you don't know which way's up. And yeah,
Yeah.
it'll definitely
Yeah.
happen
You
to you for
think you're
sure.
trying to escape the matrix, but
Mm,
you're just going into a different section.
mm. But yeah, look, I always loved his conspiracy theory talk. And I know you introduced him to the show and we used to have conversations and we had, bits and pieces. I suppose we have to acknowledge that we are sitting in the sanctum and the roof line. The way the roof line is because he did it that way. The window, the Flemish window, he helped build the frame in there. He cast his eye over the things that I was doing and gave me some pointers as to how to get them done properly. And um, yeah, it's crazy to be honest. And obviously, yeah, the story of the studio and most of us, depending on how long you've been with us here, you've probably heard this before. However, Brian saved him and Daniel from a light electrocution when we were building the studio.
Yeah.
They only nearly got electrocuted. It was only mains. You would have been, you might have
Yeah.
been okay.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we would have been fine. Yeah.
But
Or
basically,
not.
the the crazy guy that actually built this room, I think he must have done the electrics himself, and he actually
Yeah.
hardwired it into the shed. So It's not like we didn't check it. As far as we could see,
You thought it was off,
the box told us it was off. Like nothing else was working.
but I found the sparks.
Yeah, that's right. He pulled the
And
cable through and went,
Brian found the real way to turn it off properly. Like, what is going on here? And
Yeah.
figured it all out.
Yeah. But yeah, like there was
So
definitely
handy.
there's definitely sparks in the, but still now, if you were to open the wall up, there's a big black mark where the live wire dragged across the metal frame. So, it's
So
a fact.
Brian basically was just a very smart man. Anything
Oh,
he wanted
absolutely.
to do,
Yeah.
he would teach himself how to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very switched on. And, like what I remember when he asked me if he wanted to give me a hand with the studio because I knew he was doing some building work. It was a bit like you said, Lisa. He was like, "Absolutely, definitely." It's like whatever you need, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I think it was very cool. Those few weekends that we did that, and we hung out, and we chilled out and had a fire and told some stories,
Yep.
and it was
And one time, him and I decided to go. He had a ute.
that's
a two-wheel
was
drive
the
ute.
two-wheel drive ute. What was that?
We decided to go for a drive.
In the middle
We
of the
wanted to
night.
go out. It wasn't that late, but you had just gone to bed. We finished. I think that was the Primal Experience podcast, possibly.
Was it?
Yeah, you were going to bed,
Yeah.
and we were going down to the park quickly. And
That's right.
yeah, and Brian didn't know where the edges of the driveway are.
I've got
It's
like a
big
concrete culvert.
tunnel.
Yeah, I've got a big tunnel, concrete culvert, like two concrete walls either side of my driveway, and Brian ended up in the middle of those.
Yeah. So we were like looking around your shed, corner of your house, for like a plank of wood or something we could like leverage his car out of the gutter for ages, and you were asleep. Didn't know any of that was going on.
How did you get out of it in the end? I'm surprised I didn't hear it.
Well, it was a combination of like putting your foot on the throttle, rocking the car, and a little bit of swearing. I think it helped.
Did you end up off the driveway, or did you went?
Just one wheel right down in the gutter. Got up here and just went, no, it's bedtime.
Yeah,
Had enough.
By the time you got the car out, it
Had
was time
enough.
to go to bed.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Adventure's over. Go to bed. Go to sleep.
Oh, it's hilarious. That's funny stuff. I mean, but like even the road trips. I mean, you guys went on so many different road trips. What's up? What's a highlight? When I said it's a tribute to the good man. What's a highlight from a road trip that you can think about?
Firstly, love taking Brian on road trips because he's so handy, right?
Yeah,
We'd always go in my car, right? But like if
which
you
means
have
it
if you
probably
have an
can't break
issue,
down.
yeah, if you like Lisa said, you felt safe. I felt like, I could go anywhere, and if something bad happens, Brian will fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just took advantage of him. I know you did.
No
But
way.
I think if anything was going to happen, it would always happen to Brian and Daniel. I felt.
Well,
Yeah, that is true.
There was,
There's a,
is that,
there's a
I just,
long there's a long list of text messages where Brian and Daniel have done something or got bogged.
we went to Yeppoon. Like we went with my kids and I took Brian.
Yeah.
And we're at Yeppoon, and we stopped along the way, stayed a few places, but that's as far as we got to. And we stayed in a way overpriced caravan park because we couldn't find a decent campground at that time of the day when we pulled up. We were going to check out at checkout time and make the most of it for the money we spent, but it stormed, probably one of the biggest storms in my life that I've ever seen. And we have my ute that has a batwing awning, 270-degree awning. It does had like 3 sides and a rooftop tent. A couple of kids in the rooftop tent, Brian and I in swags down the bottom, and water is starting to come in underneath. So we let the kids sleep. They were fine in the rooftop, but we were like 3 a.m. Rain, stormed all night. We're like packed up in a storm, left the kids in the rooftop till the last second, and then I just like pulled them out, put them in the car, seatbelt on, they go back to sleep, and we start driving home.
Into the storm or out of the storm?
Away from it.
Away from it.
Yeah. No, it was just raining like everywhere for miles after that. Like, yeah, it was time to go.
Yeah, right.
was time to go probably a day before because that was a really cranky storm.
So if I was to ask you, Lisa, what's a story you'd like to share? Because I mean, as a female, you would have had a different relationship with Brian. He would have said things to you in a different way than he said them to us as well. Like that's just the way it is. Um, what's something that you would like to share as we move along with this tribute?
I think, especially towards the end, I saw Brian a few times. We used to run into each other at the dog park, funnily enough. He'd bring Lily and Fang in for a run around. And it was just strange. I'd go for a walk and he'd just be, you know, ambling along. And yeah, we'd have a little chat and he'd go. But Brian always used to talk to me about his marriage breakdown or, you know, what was happening in that. So I think I just saw that real vulnerable side of him, I suppose, and just a lot of that without going too deep into anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Just with Brian, it was like towards the end, I just felt like it was meant to be. Like I just by chance, I'd be just about to leave and he'd come and we'd have a chat. And that happened a couple of times. And funnily enough, after the service, I ran into his daughter at the dog park with Lily.
Oh,
Like
really? Wow.
Yeah, and to me that was sort of like and once again I was just leaving and she was walking in. So I just felt like he was still, that was that one moment that I thought, yeah, this is meant to be. And Lily just came and I wasn't sure if what I should do, I suppose, in that situation. But Lily, it was so beautiful, just came running up to me and yeah, it was really nice moment. So I think Brian, I don't know, for me it was, yeah, I saw that. I think I saw a man trying to navigate that emotional side and how should I
That's a
handle
good way of
this and
putting it. Yeah, how to navigate
Yeah.
how to navigate
the
that whole
waves in
thing.
life.
So,
Yeah.
but, and I hope, you know, in some way I helped him. But I think for him, it was also like I was trying to say to him, like, this is, you know, you can explore now and, you know, like
Mm.
it's a time for you to really, turn in, you know, sort of, how can you say it? Like, I
Spread
suppose,
his wings a little bit and
yeah,
experience.
spread his
Enjoy
wings
the
a little
freedom.
bit and sort of go within as well. And it's that time to
Yeah.
really find the person he truly was, I suppose.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, look,
I hope that makes sense.
absolutely. No,
Yeah,
definitely.
he's
Yeah.
deep. He was deep and
Very deep.
sensitive.
Very, yeah,
Um,
very, very.
very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
connected, very empathic, very connected to other people's
Mm,
feelings,
yes. Yeah.
very caring towards other people. Could be like, pretty righteous. It's a story. His dad used to be a policeman. And when he would go out, sometimes he would take Brian when he was 17. This was a completely different era. Like Brian, when he passed, he was 54, I believe.
Yeah.
He's told me when he was 17, he'd go around in the cop car with his dad. There's the bad guy, son. Go get him. Brian, big boy at 17, just run him down, tackle the guy. Dad turns up with the cuffs. And yeah, so his brothers say the reason why he probably wanted to be a policeman because he knew it would tick his dad off. He was very he didn't really care about what people thought of him a lot. Right? Only the people that he really loved. He cared about what they think.
Mm.
But for the rest of the world, like that's my lesson I've been given from Brian, like something that I want to work on myself. Like he's got so many things that I'm like, I could just take a little bit of that and apply it to myself. So many things,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
really did not give a flying shit about what other people think.
Mm.
He was on the news many times, and
Mm,
he'd be there with his crack out like a plumber's crack, like on the news, not giving a shit. Like that's how much he didn't care.
mm,
Yeah.
This is
That
in
sounds
this
about
is in the police service, like for forensics, like leaning over, doing something. And that was one of the stories that his brothers told at the service.
And look, and let's just look. Having a high ass crack is a disability. All right, it's not his fault. Okay, I understand the plight of that. So it's not his fault. However, no, you are correct. And look, that does sum it up. I suppose if I was one of the most impactful things that is you and Matt invited me to the men's development group
Yeah.
to give a presentation, and that was like the first. So I would teach a trainer and assessor slash teacher by day, or not half these days. However, I'd never delivered my own stuff, right? And there's a heap of principles and things that I wanted to share with the guys, and it was a small group of guys. And I remember him coming up to me after that and going, just being so appreciative of the things that I shared, and the principles really spoke to him. And the thing is, what I watched after that is that was the period that he lost like 20 kilos.
Hmm.
He was on that path. He was trying to be better. He was trying to act better. He was trying to figure it out.
Mm.
He took those principles and things that I said that night and applied them in his own way. And that was very humbling for me to see, because he would always say thank you. He said that more than once when I talked to him
Yeah.
on the phone. Like, he was just the fact that I sat there that night and I went through those things. And, when you watch someone apply the thing and it works, it's one thing if it works for you, but if you apply it and you see it work for somebody else and you see their improvement, that was one of the things when he passed, that was one of the things that hit me, because it's like, oh, wow, he really tried to apply, and, what happened. However, I think his vulnerability, like,
Mm.
I shared some pretty crazy intimate moments with him in weird spaces, like on the pier at Cardwell, or
Hmm.
out bush somewhere. We were sitting out in the chair, or you know what I mean. Like, and all of a sudden, it'd go really deep, really quickly.
I think you do that to people too.
It's not my fault. However, yeah, I think it's yeah, to see him try and be better. I think we're probably going to discuss grief in another show. Don't want to do that
Mm.
tonight. However, he got up that morning with things to do and places to be and people to see. I think, and there was a period of time where he might have welcomed what happened. However, he didn't at that stage. He wanted
Mm.
to be here.
Oh yeah, he was on his way to mine, meant to be coming that weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I was
So-
going to drop in with the girls, and we are
Yeah.
going to, yeah, like it was all yeah, it was a big plan, and yeah, it was very humbling for me to see him apply those lessons, and because I respected him as well, like his intelligence and his experience. We worked pretty closely behind the scenes on some stuff for unlocking the code, and he taught us forensic techniques and forensic styles that we can apply to this puzzle that we're trying to unlock here, and which we will do moving forward. And we are going to call it the Hogan method. When we prove what we're going to prove, we're going to say,
Sounds a little top secret there.
well, it is a little top. It is, but it isn't. People know what I'm talking about. However,
I'm very curious now.
there's multiple
Very
layers.
curious.
Well, the megalithic civilization existed here in Australia. However, it was systematically destroyed, like most things. And amongst other things, I'm going to prove that the Egyptians came here thousands of years ago, and I'm pretty sure I know how to do that, and I will do that using the skills that Brian taught me.
Yeah. So Brian told you what to do over the phone on your trip, did he? Or just
No, he
before
came
you?
here. No, he came here. He came
Okay.
here because
Yeah.
he had to get the stuff that we needed.
Yeah.
And he came here, and
Mm.
we went through it. We had a
Yeah. Oh, you got to like
yeah,
hands-on
we got a
training session.
hands-on training session,
Yeah.
and how to deal with it and how to use it and what to look at, and all the photos that we took down there and all the photos that I take on field trips now and how I systematically take those photos and how I build the picture and all that stuff. That's all him. That's all him.
So
I
Brian was the
I treat every site now.
Yeah.
I look at it from a forensic perspective.
Yeah.
Because, me and Brian, we talked on the phone a few times, just me and him, about that stuff, and we would talk about it. And yeah, so whatever I do as far as my field trips and stuff moving forward, I'll be doing it using the things that he taught me. That's the reality. Yeah.
Was that secret men's business? Like, was that something that you're doing in your men's group?
No, just here at
It was
Unlocking
just
the
you,
Code.
because he
Yeah.
did mention a few things to me, so I know that he was, and I won't go into it. I don't want to unlock anything, but he was very excited about it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I know that that's something he was looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, what I wanted to do, because that's what as part of I wanted to help him because he was helping me, and I was like, how can I help you? It's okay. I wanted to take his forensic experience and step away from the trauma of it and look at it and use it in a positive way. Right.
Yep.
So to use his knowledge instead of basing it in the blood and the mud.
Yep.
Base it in applying it to different questions and gaining different understandings. But yeah, his plan was to write a paper on the discoveries that we made. And look, that is the plan. That is the plan. I will try and write a paper, and I'll ask for Brian's hand over the top of mine so I can actually write it properly. Because like he could put things and new things that I don't understand. Like there's as much as the lessons that were learnt and there's a gap.
He had the experience. He's done it many times. He had the experience. Had to write a field report on something.
Yeah. There's just because he was such a unique dude, having him as part of the inner circle and unlocking the code meant so much because of his knowledge, his experience.
That's right.
His camaraderie. He slotted in with the boys. We can't discuss what we split with, at Neil's place on the way to Cardwell, but that was a top night. We just boys being boys, giving each other shit. It's basically, what is the worst thing you can say to another person? Basically, is what it is. That's the game. And Brian was all in, and he thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do I want to ask the question?
No, no one needs to know. No one needs to know.
The first time I ever.
That is secret. That is secret men's business, Lisa.
No, but I want to know. Oh, come on, I could be one of the boys.
Yeah, look.
We'll tell you later.
That's for another podcast.
We'll share the takeaway from that because there's a funny story that I won't share on the show that involves it. I'll share that one. I suppose, then there was Cardwell, man.
Well, it was the first time that I ever swam in a creek called Alligator.
That's right.
And you had me freaked out. Like,
I spoke to
Brian, Queensland.
Brian.
Well, it is northern Queensland.
Yeah, it's up in North Queensland, right? But it's Alligator Creek. It's up
crazy?
In the mountains. It's up in the mountains, and because we were in a group text, right, on Messenger, and I text Brian. I said we're going to stir Daniel up about Alligator Creek because he's never been swimming up north before. And I told Neil as well. So for days leading up to going to Cardwell, we're stirring him up about Alligator Creek. And even on the night, that's one of the conversations. We're like, hey, Daniel, you enjoying your last night, mate? You enjoying your last night on Earth? Salty's going to get you in the morning, mate. Don't you worry. It might be a freshie. It'll just take your arm. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
It'll just take a little bite, just a little bite.
That's right. So we were full stirring him up on the night before. However, yeah,
well, if you Google where crocs live up in that area, it'll say everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
That's the Google response.
Down the mountain for sure, absolutely. Closer to the ocean, yeah, for sure.
And I did Google it, just so you know.
These guys for real? We're gonna get a crocodile.
Yeah, I'm like, don't trust these guys. I'm doing my own research. Yeah, I'm gonna get.
Yeah, Brian was fully.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
No, it's a beautiful. It's a spring. It's up in the mountain. It's like hundreds of meters above sea level. When it's actually the spring comes out of the top of the mountain and works its way down to the ocean. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. And I think
Sounds lovely.
For
You're
me,
usually okay, Daniel, if there's like rock pools and things like
yeah,
that.
that's what it was. Yeah, it was
You just don't go in the water first.
yeah.
Good one.
You've only got to move faster than the slowest bloke. Really, that's
You
it.
were in on the joke,
Just a
Triff, but I
swift
think
elbow.
you actually got in last.
Hey,
You were in on the joke, but I'm pretty sure you got in last.
yeah, I'm not stupid.
Mm.
I was scanning. I was
Just
scanning the
in
banks.
case.
Hey, I lived in the Northern Territory for a long time. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's up in the hills. I scan those banks for a freshie, just in case. Like they're around. They're definitely.
Yeah.
You know, when I lived in the Northern Territory, every wet season. I know. Every dry season, just after the wet, backpackers would be taken by freshwater crocodiles by horny tour operators. That's what had happened. The tour, oh, come and skinny dip with me at night in the creek in the Northern Territory. No, that is not what you do. That is not a good idea at all. And yeah, they'd get killed by crocs up there. That happened heaps back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Heaps.
They'd get drunk and like try and swim across creeks and things like that. Just
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
silly things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we
Where
didn't.
were you in the Territory?
I finished high school in Nhulunbuy, if you can believe that, in Gove,
Wow.
in the late 90s. And then I moved to Darwin for a few years after that before I came to Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah, I came to Queensland the first time in like '05. Then I went WA, a few other places. I worked mining oil and gas for a long time. So I sort of went where the work went. So yeah, that's yeah, but yeah, no, that was good fun. Because you were worried. We're going to Alligator Creek. You're going to take me to Alligator Creek. And the problem is,
Well, the name doesn't help.
the problem is that Neil's he's he's a veteran, and so he's in on the dark humor. Like
He's an OG prankster.
You've just got to give him the slightest sniff, and he'll just ride it all the way to the bank. Yeah, so it was pretty good.
No, I actually find him really nurturing.
He is in a way. He is. He can be. However, look, I mean, Cardwell was obviously the last trip that you guys did together as well. Like you hadn't been on a trip in a little while because there was.
Brian Nelly didn't actually come.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to come.
Yeah,
and he did, and he said, "Thanks, it was the best thing I've done in a long time."
And look, and it's one of those things too. It's like with the boys being boys, yeah, we had a good time. However,
we had the best time.
We had such a profound discussion in that creek up there that morning. Like it was really cold too. It was a bit like a cold water immersion. It wasn't too bad.
Oh yeah, no, it was cold.
It was cold. It was definitely cold, and
that's how it was sold to me. Was a cold water plunge?
Yeah, cold water plunge. Yeah,
yeah.
Was it a spiritual discussion or was it?
Oh, it was many levels.
I don't know. I was too frozen.
Yeah, too frozen, looking for crocodiles.
Yeah.
No,
so you couldn't tell if I was shaking from fear or cold.
No, it definitely was a spiritual discussion. There was definitely that aspects to it. I had a lot of those spiritual type discussions with Brian over the years, and looking at things from a wider perspective and a different perspective, and that's the kind of the guys here at Unlocking the Code, we're a bit like that, aren't we? It's like if you sat around the poker table with us, we could be insulting each other, saying the worst things that we can think of. We could be talking about philosophy or spirituality, or we could be just drunk. That's the range that we have here. So, but with Brian, you always found that there was always a space where we'd have a cool discussion. Like I had so many might only been 15 minutes, but in that 15 minutes, we were locked in and talking about something weird or crazy or, like different ideas. And that rock pool up there, I'll remember that forever. That little experience, because it was just so cool. And, it was a pretty cool trip for me as well. And, for me, I'll never forget him. We're waiting for my turn to give my talk, and
you can't.
No, I won't say exactly what he said. However, basically, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You got this, mate. Don't you worry about it, and go and smash it out." Basically, is what he said.
Yeah,
and he didn't have to do that. However, he took a minute to do that, and I'll never forget that.
He was really balanced in his levels of firmness and softness.
Yeah. Like
really balanced.
The thing is, I was pacing. the thing is, he was older than me. I was pacing, and he saw that, and he's like, okay, I just need to
Yeah.
just stop for a second, mate. You're all good. You got this. And that it did. It calmed me down. Just a
Yep.
firm hand on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Just relax, mate. You got it. And he just walked away. And that there's a few things, as I say, his work will inform unlocking the code forever. And the things that he showed me and taught me in the time that I knew him. I think that's probably the biggest takeaways for me.
Yeah.
I suppose what in a similar vein, how would you go? How would you say? What are the what? If it's been a little while now. We waited a little while to do this, and I think that's probably a good thing because we're all pretty calm. There was probably a time a little while ago where we mightn't have been as calm as we are tonight. However, what's a lasting impression you want to leave the good people with?
Brian loved to laugh as much as he could.
Yeah,
There's times in life you can't laugh, but like when you're with your mates, like your really good mates that
Yeah.
really know you, always got a way of just like lifting each other up, making each other just like snap out of it, and then be able to laugh again.
yeah,
And that's what a brotherhood is really all about.
that's right.
Okay, so Brian, I hope you have a laugh at this. This one time at Coralbin, it sounds like this one time at band camp. Yeah, but this one time at Coralbin.
Please don't share whatever you did with musical instruments.
No. No, this isn't one time at band camp. This is one time at Coralbin. Okay. It's unrelated.
Unrelated, sure.
This is PG.
Okay.
It's slightly PG plus, but anyway.
PG plus.
Yeah.
Bordering on M.
Yeah. So we are staying at the men's shed one night, and we get asked by the owner of the resort, who owns the land around the men's shed as well. Got some pro golfers who won big tournament last year. Can you look after them? Yeah, no worries. Well, anyway, they were out playing golf and probably down at the Pav, the local tavern, for half the night. And Brian and I just, I think we got a pizza and just like hung around the men's shed, had a couple of drinks. And I learned a lesson that night. Don't leave Brian alone.
Right.
Don't leave him alone. Brian liked to stay awake for as long as he could.
Yeah.
Like he was just squeezing every little bit out of life that he could, right? And he just stayed by the fire, staring into the fire. And I'm really tired. I stayed up an hour longer past my expiry date.
Right.
I said, like,
You were
Brian,
done.
I've got to go to bed, mate.
Yeah, you were done.
Like, yeah, are you going to bed? It's weird. I'm like, oh, I'm going to bed, bro. You got to go to bed too, right? No, he just liked to squeeze it out. So he is falling asleep on his camp chair. I went to sleep, right? And these golfer boys, these pros, were pros that night because they came back and partially saved Brian because he had fallen asleep with his feet leaning on the rocks at the campfire and had melted his boot all the way through. He did get blisters on his foot out of that. And they grabbed, he was sleeping through the whole thing. And they grabbed him, woke him up, and like, dude, your boot is melted. I woke up in the morning, and that's when I learned the lesson. You can't leave Brian alone. Because he loved life so much, like just staying awake in the quiet, the peaceful, the most peaceful part of the day.
Well, the witching hour always has a story to tell, doesn't it?
That's right. So he loved like the quiet, the peacefulness, like many of us do.
I think the takeaway from that is, you got to
keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say live life in the moment and try and make it's going to bring a positive. Don't play with fire. Don't stick your foot in the fire.
Mate, we would always get hurt, one of us. He got called to many jobs while I was out there with him. And we'd do a job together. And we took it in turns. One of us would always end up bleeding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of yous had to give the sacrifice.
And it happened like a pattern.
Mm.
One of us would end
Yep.
up getting hurt doing these hard physical jobs like plumbing and building kitchens and bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Well, guys, there's actually a storm coming in. I just got a message. There's a
Oh,
storm coming in.
that's why I was just going to say, sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
keep looking like this because we're just about
Yep.
everything's blowing
Yeah.
and going crazy here.
Well,
Yeah, right.
how about we ask you, Lisa? What's a
I
lasting
was
impression?
My lasting impression is about Brian. He was unconditional, so he just gave freely of everything. I think,
That's actually
and
a really good way to put it.
non-judgmental
Mhm.
of everyone, and I think he just really wanted to be loved.
Mm.
So
And he was, and he was. You know, I
he
think.
was loved, and
Yeah.
I think for me that's he was really, and not that we didn't love him in each and our own way, but
Mm.
he really just wanted that love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Well, I think just live life, guys. I think live life is what we're, as
and
I
there's
said.
just he's one of a kind.
Mm.
Mm.
That's the having him as
I,
part of the brotherhood
Yeah.
because
My
of his
first
experience.
realization,
Yeah.
the man is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's a
I've
unicorn.
never met anyone like him, and I
No.
never will.
No. He
And I
definitely
think
was. Well, look, guys, I think we might leave it there if we've got some things to deal with. However, look, I really just want to thank everyone for their time tonight, their honesty, their vulnerability. May he rest in peace, and we will, as I say, the things that we are still going to do here at UTC, mate, aren't we? We're still on the path to do those things, and we will do those things using the Hogan method. So that's his legacy will live on.
I like that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of boys, like there's only 3 of us here now, but there's a lot of people who would say a lot of really nice things
Absolutely,
about Brian.
yeah.
That were grieving with us.
Yeah,
from this podcast.
the brotherhood was in grief up and down the coastline of Australia, just because of the loss that we felt. Because, as I say, as you said, he was one of a kind. He was a unicorn. You can't replace him, and we will do our best to honour him. And thanks very much, guys. Have
Yeah.
you got anything you want to add, Lisa, before we end it for tonight?
No, just thank you for allowing the space for us to express our feelings, I suppose, about Brian.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
No worries, mate.
Appreciate
Rest
that.
in peace, Brian.
Rest in
Rest
peace.
in peace.
You got anything else, brother? Thanks, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
Look
you.
after yourselves. And everyone else just live life, experience. Brian had a lot of experience. That's why he had a lot of stories. Get out there and experience different things. And just get your foot out of the fire.
Get your foot out of the fire. That's going on a shirt.
It is, yeah. Got to get your foot out of the fire.
Yeah, we need
All
to
right.
do that.
All right. Thanks, guys. Till next time.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Yeah. Bye.